We have been doing a series, actually, on the book of Luke. Luke is one of my favorite Gospels because there's a lot in it about action. There's a lot of Jesus. It really speaks to me personally about why we are here as Christians and what we're supposed to be doing. There's so much about being a Christian that is an action to me. Oftentimes, I think we try to think of it as a noun that that just defines us, but it's truly our actions that define us as people. And to be a Christian, I think that our actions define us as Christians as well. I think it's what we do with that. We have this amazing gift. It's what we do with that gift that is so important. We are starting out with right now today with Luke 4:38 through 44, and I just want to read it to you. Do you guys mind if I read it to you? Don't have a choice. I mean, I'm just up here. This is... Jesus left the synagogue and went to the home of Simon. Simon is who he is eventually going to refer to as Peter, the rock. This is Simon, his his first disciple. Simon's mother-in-law was suffering from a high fever, and they asked Jesus to help her. So he bent over her and rebuked the fever, and it left her. She got up at once and began to wait on them. He's kind of helping people in the house that he's at, right? So he comes into this home, and there's an illness there, and he helps them. At sunset, the people brought to Jesus all who had various kinds of sickness, and laying hands on each one, he healed them. So now he's helping his community. He's helping the people that are around the neighborhood, outside of the home. A lot of people had been aware of Jesus in this area. Moreover, demons came out of people, shouting, "You are the Son of God," but he rebuked them, would not let them speak, because they knew that he was the Messiah, the chosen one. At daybreak, Jesus went out to a solitary place. And this is the part that I kind of want to stress today here. People were looking for him. And when they came to where he was, they tried to keep him from leaving them. But he said, "I must proclaim the good news of the kingdom of God to the other towns also." And perhaps the most important thing about this passage, because that is why I was sent. Because that is why I was sent. People wanted to keep Jesus kind of to themselves. But for him, that's not why he was sent. This is an old picture here. This is about to get very embarrassing. I just want to start out by saying this. This is me right here on your left. That's my sister, and that's my brother. We are sporting the fashion of the day, the bow ties. Have the bow ties really ever been in fashion? Not for me, they haven't. So, but that's. I don't remember how old I was. I don't remember this picture, but according to this, it says it's me. This is another picture of me. Now I'm on the far right, and in the early 70s, it was appropriate for every parent to dress their children like Bert and Ernie from Sesame Street. So my brother there with the V-neck is obviously Bert, and I am Ernie over there, wondering where my rubber ducky went. But and then we go a little bit older there. That is me on, yes, a shag-carpeted pillow. Very fashionable at the time. It was very fashionable to have furniture that looked like it was going to eat you eventually. And we were celebrating the fact that we had just gotten rid of the shag carpeting in the house, but we wanted to keep remnants of it, I guess, for special occasions. And so that's what that was. There we go. This is when I borrowed a shirt from Olivia Newton-John and eyeglasses from Elton John, so... This was actually a Tuesday. Yes, this was not... There was nothing special about this, although I, for some reason, thought the eyeglasses were really special. Aren't they? I just want to take a moment to show you just how willing I am to humiliate myself in front of you people here. This has been buried in a box for many years until Allison found it. Somebody sent it. I think my mom sent it to Allison, and she sends this to me every once in a while when I am getting full of myself, I think. Believe it or not, at one time, that was considered fashionable. A very brief moment. It was a very brief moment. But at one time, I thought that I would wear this so that I would fit in to a group. And throughout history, we have done this with fashion. Now, I don't want to knock fashion. Fashion is actually something that about every 10 years, it goes through kind of a major change. Decade to decade, fashion goes through kind of a major change. I see Dave looking at this. Which one of these was you? I'm going to say all of them, actually. But fashion is imaginative. It is something that a lot of us do because we get bored with what we're wearing. We like to do something new. But almost every fashion, if you notice, is something that in time is something that we actually kind of make fun of and we poke fun at. I think I'm really praying that all of us has a picture somewhere that isn't as embarrassing as the one that I have. I'm really hoping that, I think that's why we have yearbooks in school, is not for us or our memory, but so that our children have something to make fun of us at. But a lot of times what we do with fashion is we do this because we are trying to fit in. A lot of us do that. Some of us, we like the way that it looks and things like that. But we also know that there's probably not a very good chance that one of us here is going to dress like this and walk down the street today. Or even this. In the 70s, this was considered the height of fashion. But a lot of us, even if we love this, even if Corey, you're looking at this and just thinking, oh, that's me, that fits me, the collar, I love the lime green or whatever that is, but you probably wouldn't wear it because we worry about how people might see us when we wear something like that. You know, even, this is going to make me really, but even people that, every once in a while you get this group, today I think we call them hipsters or whatever, but they try to do the anti-fashion, but then you go to the store and you have hipster clothing that they can actually buy because the hipster clothing is in fashion. We used to have ugly sweater days. That used to be a joke around Christmas. People would wear their old sweaters, and now you can go to Target and find the latest in the old sweater look. It's so we can fit in. A lot of us, it's very important that we become whatever the fashion is of that time. And believe it or not, that's what I thought fashion was. Now I've pretty much given up. Be honest, when I became a pastor, it was all about what do I wear. You can ask my wife, you can ask Seth or Carrie. I stewed over this because when I first started being a pastor, the first church I started, they wore the collars. It was a traditional church, and I had to wear the collar. It was easy because you didn't have to think about what you were going to wear, but I looked ridiculous. I actually looked ridiculous. I tried, to hide the double chin, but it just forces the double chin up there, and it just looked. And then the next church, it was the suit and tie. And so here we're starting something new, and this is supposed to be something new. And the first time that I preached here, I think I wore like a jacket and tie, and I think Seth said, "You look like you're getting ready to go to a funeral." And so I thought, okay, well, that's maybe not what this neighborhood dresses like. So it was all about how can I fit in to this environment. And, I tried different things. But eventually, as you can tell, I just gave up. Imagine, though, if we all just kind of gave up on fashion. Imagine if we all just kind of actually wore what we wanted to wear because of comfort. I'm wondering if everyone had their choice, if everybody would be just wearing jeans and a t-shirt. Those things have never gone out of fashion. People would be, going to the office in sweatpants. We wouldn't care. Or Corey would be wearing this right over here because he just loves, he's been eyeballing that ever since we came here. Or this one with the pocket things here. I'm not sure what that is, but this guy is looking like he's confident. If he wore it today, I'm not sure how much confidence he would have. It's just kind of funny how we try to do different things to fit in because we want to be a part of something. It's our human nature to want to be a part of something. We are creatures of habit. If you want to talk about the animal kingdom, we are a group of animals that like to go in packs. Maybe that's why we get along with dogs so well. We don't like to venture out by ourselves very often. If we do, it's usually to maybe recharge from the pack, but eventually we like to go back to either that family unit, that close group of friends, those peers. We like to be part of something bigger than ourselves. And sometimes things like fashion is a way that we can kind of put ourselves into a position of, I'm going to be part of this group. Some people might dress in the suits to be part of the business group. Some people might dress in the latest fashion-y things to be part of that group. Some people might dress in the ugly sweaters because they just want to be a part of that group. But it truly is something that connects us to people because we crave that. Every one of us wants to be liked. Is that a fair thing to say? I don't think that I'm the only one that thinks this. We want to be in a position where people like us. We want to feel included. We want to feel appreciated. We want to feel welcomed. And sometimes when we do that, sometimes our own insecurities can prevent us from actually really enjoying it. Because like fashion, you see, most of those images that I showed you were from magazines. And believe it or not, at that time, they were the best. They try to grab the people that are the best fit, that look the best. Nowadays, they Photoshop their faces and their hair to where they look different. If they have a wrinkle, they brush it out. If they want to make their neck longer, they make their neck longer, their eyes bigger. That's actually one of the most common things that they do with model images now. They make the neck longer, slimming, and they make the eyes bigger. And it's any wonder that when we look at those images, we think to ourselves, I don't look anything like that. And after a while, it's easy to say, well, I don't look anything like that, but I'm okay with how I look. But after a while, when you see images like that over and over and over again, it starts to play an effect into you. I don't look like the person that I am supposed to look like. Those I might buy the thing, but then you try it on, but I don't look like the person that was in the magazine wearing that thing. But I still try to buy it so that I can fit in. I still want to be appreciated, but yet the people that I think that I'm supposed to look like are now starting to feel like they're on a little bit of a higher plane than I am. And we start to feel a little bit more self-conscious about ourselves. And you see, that's part of the trick, is because then you buy more. Well, maybe I'll buy something else that makes me look a little bit better. Or maybe it's the hairstyle that I need because I see that that's the style that they're wearing now, and so I'll have that hairstyle. Maybe it's the different kind of shaved beard or anything like that. I need to fit in on that. Or maybe it's the way that the things that they do. Maybe it's the lifestyle that I'm choosing wrong. Maybe it's not my clothing, but it's the lifestyle. Maybe if I went to more of these clubs that people look like they're having fun with, I actually might fit in a little bit more there. But the truth is what we're searching for is a connection. We're just trying to seek a connection. We're trying to seek, dare I say it, we're trying to seek love. From the time that we are born, the first instinct that we have is to reach out to see if somebody's there. And for the rest of our lives, we continue to seek it. All we want to seek is love. And sometimes when we have love, when we find love, we want to hold on to that with our dear lives because we are so afraid of losing it. I got it. Somebody loves me. I'm going to smother them to death. I'm not going to let anybody even be their friend because I need that love. And I'm insecure enough because I've seen all the ads and I've seen all the images of other people and I've compared myself to the fantasy of what people are supposed to be. And I know that if that person that loves me right now leaves me, I'm not going to have anybody left because I know truly in my heart I'm not lovable. I've got my flaws. I watch TV shows and I see people acting wonderful. When they confront each other, they're witty about it. And they're neat, and they wrap things up in 30 minutes, and everything's fine. They use little punchy jokes to get through arguments. I try that at home, and I'm sleeping in the garage. Suddenly, the jokes aren't that punchy. And I wonder, why isn't that working? We compare ourselves to a fantasy. And we forget that we live in a reality. And it's hard because when we live in that reality, we start to feel a little bit more isolated and insecure because we don't dare say what our fears are. Because we still think that while we're living in the reality, we think that everybody around us is part of that fantasy. If you only knew what my thoughts were at times. If you only knew what my imperfections were, if you only knew what my actual fears were, I'm not that gifted. I don't look like those images. I don't fit in with the things that I think I'm supposed to fit in on. If people only knew that, they wouldn't want to be a part of me no matter what I wore. I might be walking this world dressed the way that people dress in 2019, but deep inside, I feel just as much of an outcast as a man in a leisure suit walking around in 2019. I feel like I'm standing out different. I struggle with things. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way that I act sometimes. I'm not the best preacher in the world. I'm not the best pastor in the world. I'm not the best husband in the world. I'm not the best son in the world. I'm not the best father in the world. And the list goes on. As much as we compare ourselves to the outside, we dig digger and digger. And so sometimes the only thing that we have in common is a search for love, but a collection of fear. Because that fear grows. The fear of being unloved grows. So much so that it will protect you to where you have somebody that you love so much that you surround yourself around them and you don't want anyone to be a part of it. And you don't want to let anybody else in. And sometimes that collective fear grows even bigger. So much so that it can affect a community. Dare say it can affect a country. So much so that we are so scared that what we have is our security and it's who we are, that if somebody comes in from the outside, it could ruin it. This phony sense of security that we have, if we let them in, it could ruin it. They could bring in different ideas, different cultures. They could bring in different ways of doing things, things that we're not used to doing, things that don't match the images that we see up there. What would happen to that? What would happen to us? You see, we're all trying to hold on to this fantasy of what we think everything is supposed to be like. And to protect the fantasy, we do everything we can to keep out reality. Sometimes we do that by wearing a suit that is uncomfortable, but it makes us look nice. And sometimes we do that by keeping people from coming in because they look different than we do. Because that's reality. Sometimes as Christians, we want to hold on to Jesus as if he's our very own, a gift given to us by God. We get to hold on to Christ. He's my security. You see, we're Christians here in this place. We have Jesus here. And if someone else came in with someone that looked different than us, someone that acted different than us, what would they are they going to try to change us? Are they going to try to take Jesus away from us? That's what the people that were with Jesus at that time and the house of Simon were trying to do. No, stay here. Stay here with us. You're our security. With you, everything is fine. We're getting healed. We're getting the demons out. We're feeling better about ourselves. Stay here. And that's when Jesus said, I have to go to the other towns. And we can modernize that. I have to go to the other countries. I have to go to the other cities. I have to go across the street. I have to go to the people that you won't go to. Because that is why I am here. Because that's why I'm here. Christ never came and said, I'm here just for you. And you know what? Jesus knew that if he left that town, if he left Simon's house, Simon's mother-in-law was going to be fine. Because what he gave them was something that they could keep. Because Jesus never goes out of fashion. He gave them something pure. There was no gold or trinkets or an outfit or the way that people are supposed to look. It was what he gave them was pure love. Pure, solid love. There are people in this world, and there are people in this room that continually are challenged whether or not they are deserving of that love. Like the images on TV, when I didn't go to church as a kid. I was not a churched person. Many of you people probably know the hymns and the traditions much more than I do. I had one experience where I went to Sunday school as a kid. I stole Kool-Aid. That's my experience with church. So when I came back to church, I did feel like the Christians were up here, and I was here. Oh, they were perfect because they smiled and they sang these songs. Some people even held their hands up like that as if they were reaching for God and they could touch him. They were much more special than I was. They looked better. They were successful. I was going through divorces, and I was having trouble, and I was struggling to even like myself. And I was struggling to find out who this Christ was. If they only knew how messed up I was, would they have even let me in their church? Fantasy. Reality. Where do you suppose Christ's love is? And what is he telling us to do with it? Because our reality can be quite a neat thing. Where fantasy tells us we have to look like this and we have to be like this, the reality of our God says, you are special just for who you are. The person you're supposed to look like, it's you. Don't look at the magazines, look in the mirror. The person that you're supposed to be, it's you. The person that I am here for, it's you. Know that in your heart. It's never going to be what's on here. It's always going to be what's in here. Today I know I'm exactly who I'm supposed to be. I know with God that I can take what I have right now and I can go and grow and gain wisdom in certain areas, and I can expand on things, and I can get a little bit better at certain things, and I can work on things that I'm not that perfect at. But I also know that Christ is with me throughout every inch of that in my life, and that Christ loves me today just as I am. Even when I wear a stupid little half shirt and glasses that are as big as my face. Nowadays, if I have a half shirt, it's just because I sat up. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with who I am. I hope that we can pray this week that we are all okay with who we are. And then I hope we can take it a step further and know that whoever comes into our world, we always say our world as if we own it. Whoever comes into our area is also loved just as they are. My hero, Fred Rogers, used to say, "You make every day a special day just by being you." I think there's something very biblical about that. Would you pray with me? Gracious God, if we have a word today, let it be special. Let us know that we are special for just who we are. We don't have to look like anyone else. If everybody looked like everyone else, it would be very boring in this world. Thank you for making us all different, all unique, and all fantastic. And remind us that you love us just as we are. In Jesus' name, Lord, I pray. Amen.